Yeah.
Let's get to these rosters. So you want to start at the AAA level and fly our way down?
Yeah. So the way we did it was like we went through each level, and I've got 7 AAA rosters, 6 double, 7 high A, and 4 low A. And we're honestly going to go relatively rapid fire. It's, hey, here are the teams. This is the affiliate. And these are the notable guys on the roster. So let's start with the 7 AAA teams, and we'll start with St. Louis's AAA, the Memphis Redbirds. The big story here is the tandem up top in the rotation, Matthew Liberatore and Gordon Graceffo. And Liberatore looked great again last night. So you got Libby and Graceffo, but you've got big league relief caliber guys in Genesis Cabrera, in Jojo Romero, my 90-mile-an-hour king, Connor Thomas, and then Ivan Herrera. Depends how you want to view Ivan Herrera at this point in his minor league career. But then you've got Mason Wynn up in triple, Moises Gomez, last year's minor league home run king, on this roster as well. And then, I don't know, like some intrigue if you want with a Lucan Baker or an Errol Robinson, or Oscar Mercado's been DFA'd a couple times. He's in the Cardinal system now. So this is just like an intriguing roster. I think you'll have some fun tuning into Memphis Redbirds games.
I do think that there's still plenty of prospect intrigue with Ivan Herrera. I think he's definitely a prospect fatigue victim here. And I do think he's going to get traded. So this is a guy to monitor here, because I do believe that might be one of their trade chips, especially after giving a multi-year deal to Wilson Contreras. We know how much they like to clutch on to their main guys. It's clear that Ivan is not one of their main guys, like a Mason Wynn. Of course, Jordan Walker was even untouchable in the Juan Soto discussions. Like, we know how they are. Herrera is going to be fun to monitor, because if he performs, there's no spot for him. They're kind of covered. Like, Aaron Antonini could turn into a pretty solid backup. They've got some depth there anyways. Herrera will probably be one of their trade chips that they use. So that's something to monitor there. But yeah, this is a fun team. They're going to slug. Gordon Graceffo is probably, if it's not Liberatore, Graceffo is kind of that next man up. We didn't mention Libby, actually, so that kind of leads us right into it. He was fantastic again. I tweeted out the whole stat line and with a video. Fastball was jumping. He touched 97. Libby should be the next man up in that big league rotation. I think Graceffo is a little bit kind of stock right-hand arm, which is not bad. Everyone needs that, like, back end of the rotation, pound the strike zone, 3 decent pitches kind of guy like Graceffo is. But, he just doesn't get me as excited. I think Libby has a higher ceiling. We've talked about how Libby has totally overhauled the fastball, not only to see it tick up, but also have some more life on it. He's commanding it better. The curveball is sharper at the 75, 76, and he's got the slider. He was absolutely gross last night. And I think those two guys, that's 40% of the rotation. You should be tuning in every time those two guys pitch, but specifically with Liberatore, 30 called strikes plus whiffs, 17 on the fastball, 6 curveballs, 5 sliders, 2 changeups. And Graceffo is a guy that's going to work quick and pound the strike zone. It's a fun team.
You texted me Libby, period. I said, I'm back in. And you said after 10 innings. And I said, you were back in after 1 pitch. And you were like, yeah, and it was a good pitch. And I was right. No, man. I mean, the curveball looks sharper, which is awesome. Like, again, we talked about it. It was the House of Highlights pitch. It was the one that was like slow and beautiful, 72 miles an hour. That's the Mackenzie Gore thing too. Curveball was never Mackenzie Gore's best pitch. Curveball's not Libby's best pitch, but because he made it tighter, that curveball is playing really well off of 97.
Yeah.
Who the hell knew Libby had 97 in the tank?
With better shape to it. And then he's also got this slider that I really think has helped the curveball, because you're worried about the curveball going like this. And for those just listening, I'm doing a downward gesture. Fastball doing this, I'm doing like a flying gesture. And then you've got a slider that's diving to the right on you. So you've got 3 different, angles, and then a changeup that will even mix in. So that's ridiculous.
They all follow the Kershaw template, man.
Yeah.
Like Kershaw, pretty curveball, but the slider's the best pitch. Mackenzie Gore, pretty curveball, slider's the better pitch. Reed Detmer's pretty curveball. His improved slider has made him a 3 in Major League Baseball. And Liberatore, the same exact thing, man.
100%. Syracuse Mets got a little bit weaker. Francisco Alvarez gets the call up, and Brett Beatty's hurt. So that said, Alvarez, I think, is going to be there to stay. I actually have no idea. I won't even speak on that, because he's up with the big league team now that Omar Narvaez is out for 8 to 9 weeks. But he's not playing today. I don't know if it's because the Marlins are pitching in Edward Cabrera that, is kind of a nightmare right on right for a guy that's just getting brought up there. But I don't know. We'll see how they handle that. He's not there. Beatty, should be back soon. It's just thumb soreness. Vientos is a dog. This is a fun team. Who else should people kind of be monitoring on the Syracuse Mets roster?
The king of prospect fatigue, newly turned 22-year-old Ronnie Mauricio. Ronnie Mauricio turned 22 on Tuesday, and he is playing with his hair on fire in AAA as a newly minted 22-year-old.
Yeah.
We jumped ship on this guy so quickly.
Everyone did, bro. He had 2 bombs.
I know. I'm telling you, everybody jumped ship on him. It's the Dominguez thing. Like,
yeah.
Oh, Jason Dominguez sucks for a year. Out.
It was also because just like you knew he wasn't going to stick it short. He just was getting slower and slower. But it doesn't really matter if you're a switch hitter who mashes, and that's what he is. He is the poster boy of prospect fatigue, I think, at this point, which is really funny. But it's good to see him succeeding. They also, on the pitching side, it's kind of thin, but it's still a pretty fun team. Jose Budo is worth watching. He will come up and kind of plug in here and there for them. Eric Orzi is fine. But yeah, it's really about the high level talent that they have here between Beatty, Mauricio, of course, Alvarez, if he comes back down, Vientos. Carlos Cortez is a relevant, top 30 prospect to watch. But that's about it. Next ball club is a really fun one, though.
Yes, very, very fun. Their IL, you could argue, is better than the rest of their roster right now. Louisville, AAA for the Reds. Ellie De La Cruz and Christian Encarnacion Strand are both on the injured list right now. They will pop off. They will join Matt McClain with the Louisville Bats. Nick Senzel and Joey Votto are on rehab assignments right now. That's kind of fun. Michael Ciani, the more I watch Ciani, the more I'm sold that he is a big leaguer for a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. He's a big leaguer.
And then you've also got, Brandon Williamson, see what you got there. Levi Stout, see what you got there. Ricky Karcher, it looks like a big league setup guy or a closer. I've aired out my frustrations in the way that he throws before. And then everybody's favorite 32-year-old Tyrone Guerrero is back with the Louisville Bats. So that was kind of fun for me to watch 102 from Tyrone Guerrero, but no idea where it's going. He's down to like the mid to high 90s now. But yeah, man, I mean, when you're going to put out a lineup with Ciani and then Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, and Christian Encarnacion Strand, must-see TV.
That's one of the more exciting rosters in minor league baseball, especially just with like the balance of star power and then just like solid fourth outfielder role player and Mike Ciani. I love just like the duality of that because they might be batting back to back when everybody's healthy. Have you seen an ETA on Ellie De La Cruz's injury? Like when he's supposed to come back? I know it's not serious.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I assume like a month or less.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Yes.
I was so excited for him to just start the year hot and have all the fans freaking out about getting him to Great American Ballpark as soon as possible. Yeah. Move on to the Columbus Clippers, which talk about pitching. Like this is a team that even if they call some dudes up, is going to be reloaded with more pitching because there's guys in AA who we'll talk about that are also really capable of getting outs. But this Columbus Clippers roster is good on both sides from the pitching and the hitting.
Dude, I mean, you're going to see something intriguing every night on the mound and in the lineup. And like shocker, the Columbus Clippers, the AAA affiliate of the Guardians, are good again. They were great last year because they had Will Brennan and they had Xavier Curry and Hunter Gaddis. Those guys are all up with the Guardians right now. So on the mound, you're getting some assortment of Logan Allen, Peyton Battenfield, Tanner Bybee, who had a meteoric rise to triple. You've got some excellent bullpen arms and Nick Michalacik, Andrew Miziazik. How about Anthony Ghost, the two-way guy who's out for the entire season, whatever. Connor Pilkington is here too. Thomas Ponticelli has some stuff as well. And then Tuki Toussaint is kind of interesting.
Let's go
in Columbus as well. But the bats are so good, man. Bo Naylor is in triple. Tyler Freeman, Yankensi Noel, Brian Roquillo, Richie Palacios, Roman Quinn, and then Valera is on the 7-day IL. Looks like Valera is out for a good bit. But, man, there's intrigue every time you pop on a Columbus Clippers game.
Yeah, and then I don't think they're far away from getting Williams over here too. So yeah, this is a really, really, really fun ball club. I'm telling you, between Logan Allen and Tanner Bybee, those two guys you should be tuning in for alone, especially Bybee. We're gonna get him back on the podcast soon. I actually just reconnected with him recently. One of the nicest guys too sent me like a note to thank me for the merch that we sent over because we always send any any guest on the pod, we send them merch. Usually these guys are busy and whatever, but he sent me a specific note. This stuff is sweet. Thank you so much. And it's just like, that's the kind of guy Bybee is. Easy to root for, but he's legitimately nasty too. So catching up with him, I said, after you get a few starts under your belt, we got to get you back on here. So looking forward to him having like 2 or 3 shutout starts. Then we're going to get him on and break him down. So looking forward to that. Bybee is going to be a big league 3, at worst a 4. And I'd put a lot of money on that. I really would. But that's a fun ball club over there in Columbus with the Guardians. Next up,
the Norfolk Tides, AAA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles. And there's not much pitching here. DL Hall is there. That is certainly a notable start to watch. Who has any idea how long he will go? But this lineup is absolutely loaded. Infielders alone, you've got Jordan Westberg, Joey Ortiz, and Connor Norby. You've got Colton Cowser in the outfield. Daz Cameron resurfaced in the Orioles system, so Daz being in the outfield is kind of interesting. Your favorite player ever, Lewin Diaz. And then Josh Lester just had a 3-homer game over the weekend. So, I mean, dude, like, this lineup is going to mash. And, you know, whenever you see a notable pitching prospect facing the Norfolk Tides, just know that that is going to be a very hard start for them.
Yes. And that's why, like, we were talking about it when Taj struggled. It was Taj that struggled against the Norfolk Tides, right? Like, you got to take it a little bit with a grain of salt there. That's a lot. That team, is there a lineup you think that's tougher in minor league baseball than the Norfolk Tides?
I don't think so. Like, maybe when Louisville gets Ellie and CES back, you know, that could be a tougher lineup. But I mean, Norfolk, dude, when you can run Westberg, Ortiz, and Norby back to back, and then Cowser, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then pitching wise, hopefully they get Seth Johnson back at some point this year. That's a guy that's definitely worth watching. Chris Valamont is like still kind of interesting part of that Lewin Diaz trade. It's kind of funny that Valamont was sent to the Twins with Sergio Romo, and to the Marlins was Lewin Diaz. And both of those guys are now on the Orioles AAA affiliate. But that's always interesting. But I mean, when you just got Norby, Ortiz, Westberg, and then Diaz is no slouch. Like, I don't know if he's going to hit at the big league level, but that's a good AAA hitter at the very least, on top of Cowser, Hudson Haskin, and then Daz Cameron has put up numbers. I think this is the minor league lineup. Like, I don't think there's a more difficult minor league lineup to have to face than this group.
Yeah, although I just pulled up Durham.
Durham's good. You want to talk about Durham?
The Bats alone: Jonathan Aranda, Aslevis Basabe, Vidal Brujan, Tristan Gray, Kyle Manzardo, Curtis Mead, Cameron Meisner, Nico Holsizer. Hell, Ben Gamble is on this roster as well. That's the Bats. Then you look at what they have on the hill. Taj Bradley, of course. But then you go to a guy like Evan McKendry, or how about Luis Patino, who's still trying to find it 100%. And then you've got a Colby White that has some prospect intrigue that is on the IL right now. And then some bullpen arms like Zach Birdie is there. I mean, dude, Jose Lopez was returned from the Padres. There's just going to be something good all the time.
Jose Lopez got returned. I forgot about that. That's lit. I love Jose Lopez. Yeah, dude, Basabe has been awesome. I think that's got to be one of the most underrated guys. And he's underrated because he's in this lineup that is so loaded. I think Basabe is better than Brujan at this point. I think that's kind of clear. We'll see if the Rays believe that and who gets the next call kind of to get brought back up. I think, and Basabe is a 40-man guy too, so you might as well bring him up, you know, like if you need another infielder. But what's crazy is all of these guys could plug and play, I think, like now and be good. Or at least give you a shot at the big league level with Mead, Manzardo, Brujan, Basabe, Aranda. You know, I'm not the biggest Brujan guy, but again, if you have to plug that guy in with these new rules, the very least, he's going to give you defense and steal bags when he gets on base. Pinto's been swinging it pretty well. This team from top to bottom is just a blast. Durham Bulls should be a team that if you have a chance to watch a minor league game, if you're itching, that's a team to watch. Even like Nico Holsizer and Cameron Meisner, like those guys will hit you moonshots when they connect.
Yes, 100%, man. Next one is Vegas, and we can start and stop with Tyler Soderstrom, but there's some really good guys flanking Soderstrom here. Like Kyle McCann is another catcher that I think, you know, can be a big leaguer at some point, but then you have a bunch of guys that are knocking at the door. Jordan Diaz, I love. I think Diaz is like a bat to ball corner infield guy that can hit pretty well. But then you've got guys that like have major league experience and Jonah Bride, Termes Garcia, Tyler Wade, JJ Bleday, Cal Stevenson. You've got Zach Geloff on the IL right now. Las Vegas is pretty fun. And then on the hill, like, do you see much intrigue here? Luis Medina, I'm just always fascinated by.
Yeah, Luis Medina is always going to be worth a watch. But this team, I think, is going to be putting up a lot of runs, and they're probably going to be giving up a fair amount of runs. But I do think that any single time that you get a chance to tune in and watch Tyler Soderstrom, I think you got to be watching. Like, this is one of the better offensive forces I think that you're going to find right now in minor league baseball, and I think he's already proven that. Jake Fishman's pretty nasty as a reliever, but pitching wise, it's kind of thin on that Vegas team. But Kyle McCann, no slouch either. I would say catching position wise, that's got to be one of the best in the minor leagues between Soderstrom and McCann. Maybe not defensively, but offensively. And then Kevin Smith has like 15 home runs in 32 games for whatever that's worth. And Bleday has been off to a pretty good start and has that least intrigue of a top 5 pick, top 6 pick. So it's a fun team.
Can I tell you, I will take this next catching tandem over Vegas's catching tandem?
Let's hear it.
Diego Cartaya and Carson Taylor with Double-A Tulsa in the Dodgers system. Carson Taylor,
that'll play.
That'll play. Taylor is switch hitter out of Virginia Tech. He was great as a Hokie. He has been really good in the lower levels. Cartaya, everybody knows that is listening to this podcast. Everybody knows who Diego Cartaya is. He's in double, and then you've got guys like Idris Leonard, Yorbit Vivas, Brandon Lewis, who can mash, and is Mike Moustakas' his doppelganger. Johnny DeLuca is like poor man's James Outman.
Yeah.
Andy Pajes, you know who he is. Jose Ramos is in double. Cody Hosey is in double. And then you go to the pitching staff, man. Ooh. I mean, Nick Frasso is a name that jumps out. Kyle Hurt, Landon Knack, Lyle Lockhart. Cole Percival is Troy's son, could be a big league closer. River Ryan and Emmett Sheehan, who we talked about. This team is stacked.
So Sheehan, disgusting. Probably the highest profile prospect here. But then you got like Landon Knack, as you mentioned. Frasso, I think, is one of the bigger breakout guys to watch. And if it's not Frasso, it's River Ryan. So you've got several guys here who could easily have their ascension, with this ball club. Yeah. So there's some really, really exciting arms on this team. Even a Ben Harris, data darling with the fastball, lefty that just takes off out of his hand. Even Kyle Hurt, another data darling. So there's even lower level breakout guys as well. This entire staff almost has intrigue. This is one of the best teams top to bottom in all of minor league baseball.
For sure. Hey, do we want to do triple and double this episode and then high and low next week, or do we want to just rip all of them?
We can do that.
Your call. All right. Live, Love, and the Hartford Yard Goats. I love them so much. Double-A for the Colorado Rockies. Drew Romo and Hunter Goodman, two very notable catchers. Romo, obviously the big prospect, but Goodman had an insane year last year in the Rockies system. Warming Bernabel is a Hartford Yard Goat. Grant Levine is also on that team. And then my king, Zach Veen, man. This lineup, dude, will be tested. If they can do it here, they can do it at altitude.
I mean, talk about another insane catching tandem between Drew Romo and then the offensive ability of Hunter Goodman. If you could combine Drew Romo and Hunter Goodman, you'd probably have one of the best catching prospects in all of baseball.
You probably have Cartaya.
Yeah, better. Because I think Romo's defense is just insane. Warming Bernabel, I love, man. This guy's worth watching every single time he's at the box. He can just really swing it. You talked about Veen. Like, this is a fun team. Pitching wise, it's the Rockies affiliate, remember? So there's some intrigue, I guess, like Case Williams, like Chris McMahon, maybe. Like the pitching is definitely not the most exciting, but offensively, this team's a force.
Yeah, 100%. You're buying a little bit more stock in Zach Veen via text. Is that so?
Yeah, I liked what I saw in the backfields. The batted ball data in the early going looks a little bit better, tapping into more power. I'm interested to monitor how he starts off this season. But the thing with him is if it all clicks, the ceiling, we know what that is.
I've already called him like Barry Bonds meets Ricky Henderson meets Andrew Jones. So
yeah, I think you're nuts.
Yeah, I am nuts. But you know what? It's okay. Somerset, the AA affiliate of the Yankees, another great AA team. Clayton Beater is on this team. Will Warren is on that team, but there is some serious intrigue in the Bats. Tyler Hardman, Delvin Perez is kind of fun, but Trey Sweeney, Jason Dominguez, Everson Pereira. This team has some stars.
Yeah, and then even on the pitching side, right? You got Will Warren, who I really, really like. You've got Clayton Beater, who is just nasty. So, of course, you're tuning in for the Bats here, but you have some pitching intrigue. But yeah, I mean, when you get a chance to see Jason Dominguez and Everson Pereira, I think two of the more high upside prospects in the minors and in this Yankee system, and then a first rounder like Sweeney, it's just a fun group. Even Tyler Hardman hits the crap out of the ball. And then, former first rounder Anthony Siegler. Let's see what the switch thrower can do behind the dish. This is a really fun ball club over here. Also, don't sleep on Richard Fitz, another intriguing arm who could have some rotation upside if he continues to kind of progress the way he has. He looked really good in spots last year.
Siegler was the one that got cut down at second base after like pimping the shit out of a double, right?
Yeah, he hit the wall and he got cut down at second. Yes.
It was really bad.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
The Frisco RoughRiders, the AA affiliate of the Rangers. I mean, they have as much like top end strength as you could imagine. Evan Carter and Dustin Harris are in the outfield. Luis Angel Acuna is in the infield. And then you've got Jack Leiter, you've got Antoine Kelly, you've got TK Roby and Owen White. I mean, damn, man, you're tuning into a good start with some like top 100 guys offensively all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say this might be the most top 100 guys. Like, if not, it's very close. I love TK Roby as well. I think it's a really intriguing arm. But if you took an aggregate of prospect rankings, I mean, Owen White's going to be in the top 40 for us, or top 45. And then Evan Carter is going to be even higher than that. So there's not that many teams with two top 40 prospects. Then you also throw Jack Leiter into the fold there. You throw some of these other just very intriguing names, fringe top 100 guys like Luis Angel Acuna. And then even somebody like Trevor Hauver, who, has not quite progressed the way that I think they had hoped when they acquired him from the Yankees in that Gallo trade, but still intriguing. Antoine Kelly, we know what he can be when he's healthy. This is a fun ball club that is going to be worth watching almost no matter who's on the bump. And there's going to be a lot of days where there's some intrigue on the bump when you got Leiter and White. And then when the third guy is TK Roby, Roby is a very solid pitching prospect. This is a fun ball club.
For sure. All right. Two more AA teams. I'm saving your favorite for last. Let's go to Biloxi, the Shuckers, AA affiliate of the Brewers. Jackson Chorio gets his opening day look in double. You've got Jefferson Carroll on the same team. Tyler Black is also on this team. Noah Campbell, everybody's favorite utility man, the former South Carolina Gamecock. He doesn't have much prospect intrigue, but Felix Valerio is still on this team. Freddie Zamora is on this team. And then you go to the rotation and you see a guy like Tobias Myers, who is intriguing. Nick Bennett is intriguing. And then, some guys that could turn into big league relievers. How about a Zach Venaro or an Adam Seminaris, who was acquired in that Hunter Renfroe deal? This is a team that I think the Bats are really going to show up.
I think anytime Abner Uribe comes out of the bullpen, you need to watch because it's 102. No idea where it's going. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
Jefferson Carroll is one of my favorite catching prospects in baseball. So, I mean, that's a guy that I like to watch do his thing behind the dish and then also at the plate. So I'm super excited for that. Tyler Black, a lot of people that I really respect in this industry have Black higher than I can totally understand. A lot of that's because of the hit tool and the approach. He's been very injury plagued. So I'm very interested to see what he does this year. A lot are tabbing him as kind of a breakout candidate. And then, of course, Chorio, man. I mean, this is another guy that's being considered top 5 prospect in baseball. You got to tune in and watch one of the youngest players in the AA level in a long time do his thing in Biloxi, where the ball takes off to left field. I'm expecting some big power numbers from Chorio.
I would like for you to walk me through the Tennessee Smokies, the AA affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, because Tennessee, I mean, there are too many notable arms to count, whether they are starters or relievers, especially when you start to get into the IL, and even Max Bain is a guy that can run it up to the upper 90s, and he's on the development list. That's kind of crazy. But then the Bats, I mean, everybody's got intrigue.
this team's insane. So offensively, I think I kind of skewed to just like enjoying watching hitting a little bit more sometimes. So I'm probably going to spend more time on the bats on this team. But Ben Brown is probably one of the most electric, besides Palencia, in this Cubs system. Ben Brown might have as much upside, pitching prospect upside, as anybody in the Cubs system. Came over in that David Robertson deal from the Phillies. I have no idea. Well, I do know why the Phillies traded him. I mean, Robertson helped get them to the World Series. It's a classic Dombrowski move because Ben Brown is a really exciting 6'6" power pitching prospect. Just high spin fastball, hammer breaking ball. He's gross. TJ Hurst is worth watching because if he has any semblance of command, he is incredibly hard to hit. Porter Hodge, one of the more underrated pitching prospects in this system, has back end the rotation intrigue. Jordan Wicks, former first rounder, should be a solid pitchability lefty. Daniel Palencia is the most electrifying pitching prospect in this system. Routinely hits triple digits. Like, this is a crazy staff. And then even Ryan Jensen turned in a really nice outing the other night. Former first rounder, still has some intrigue there. And you mentioned Bain. Burl Caraway, if he can even have 35 command, would be a nasty arm as well. So worth monitoring there. But then how about the offense here? Miguel Amaya is finally, going to be healthy, I think, this year and finally be able to consistently play, especially in the second half of the season. Really excited to see Amaya. I still think he's a legitimate prospect here. And then you got so many bats, especially in the outfield. Owen Casey, who I think I'm higher on than anybody on this planet besides his family. I think he's going to show out in a big way this year, has monster power. Oh yeah, that guy Pete Crow Armstrong, 80 grade defender and center, can really swing it. That's a guy worth watching every single time he's on the field. Jordan Wogu, when he gets a hold of one, it's going to go. That's a guy worth watching. And then Cole Roeder had a nice season last year. Nelson Maldonado's no slouch. Bryce Ball had a nice little stretch. And then Chase Strumpf is not bad either. But I mean, the star power of this offense is really exciting.
Only thing I want to add is Burl Caraway in 2021 was just hilarious. And then 2022, it was insane too. 2021, between high A and double, most of his appearances in high A, 35 and 2/3 innings, 54 punch outs, so 13.5 Ks per nine, 46 walks, so 11.5 walks per nine. And then last year, he throws in 10 games in Tennessee, 10 innings, 7 strikeouts, 24 walks. I mean, oh my gosh. But this is a former first-round pick, is like a guy that seemed like a closer in waiting. He just can't throw strikes. If he can throw strikes, we may be in for a movie.
Yes, absolutely. Is that it for our upper levels?
That is it.
All right, so we'll give you the low A, high A rundown on the next episode on Monday of those top rosters there, which should be a lot of fun to break down. Anything else, Jack, before we wrap it up for the week and get ready for a fun weekend of minor league baseball?
I don't think so, man. This is awesome to have it all back. And opening day at the major league level is great. It's a holiday and everything. But, the ability to wake up at, whatever time on a Saturday morning and pop on a minor league game at, noon and then not have them turn off until like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. is just something that you cannot replicate, man. Thank goodness minor league baseball is back.
I can't wait, man. It just feels like it's endless opportunity to watch something exciting and watch, the future of baseball. Their top 100 list coming out for Just Baseball on Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, top 100 is live, which is fun because Gunnar and Corbin graduated. So we have some uniqueness to this top 100 with the two guys that have been at the top pretty much for a while now removed. There's a new number one, and it's going to be fun to reveal that in the coming days. Look out for that on justbaseball.com on Tuesday. And then Jack and I will be doing episodes running through that entire top 100 over the next couple weeks. So that should be a lot of fun. If you enjoy the podcast, please take the second to leave a rating, subscribe to our YouTube. There's going to be plenty of content there, and follow us on our Twitters to keep up with everything going on in the minor league landscape. I'll be tweeting about everything I see. Jack tweets about what he's literally seeing in front of him as he broadcasts it. And we try to keep you as plugged in to what's going on in the minor leagues as possible. As always, thank you for listening, and we look forward to talking prospects with you on Tuesday.